But look, let's go into this one. This one, just as much as I knew that the Alabama versus Michigan game was going to be, like you said, it was low scoring. It was going to be a defensive battle. This one was going to be, in my opinion, who had the ball last. It came down to that, but it didn't. Texas wasn't able to get it done. 37-31. Washington jumped out. I mean, at halftime, it was 21-21. For those of you that like high-scoring games, this was the one that you wanted to see.
Yeah.
Washington took a little lead, about, I think, a 10-point lead midway through. And then, I kind of, at that point, I told you I was kind of getting tired from the first game. And I kind of, turned it off and laid down a little bit. And then I checked my phone, an hour later. I was like, oh, snap. They're coming back. This one can come down to the wire. You said you watched the last 5 minutes of it. What I mean, all the way down to the wire. This is what you asked for, right?
Well, and it happened that way, but it shouldn't have. The only reason it did happen that way is because Dylan Johnson got hurt, which forced the clock to stop.
Yep.
So everything was going Texas' way. And then, Quinn Ewers makes some phenomenal throws down the field. And then I was like, oh, snap, Texas is about to do it. They're about to get it. And first and goal from the 12-yard line, 10 seconds left, whatever it was. And then Quinn crumbled, in my opinion. He threw that swing route, which I was like, why? If he gets tackled in the field of play, it's game over.
Right.
Why do you throw that? In my opinion, you just take shots to the end zone every single time. And even that last throw, he didn't really give his receiver a chance, A.D. Mitchell.
Yeah.
Yep. You've got to throw that on that back shoulder outside where he gets it or nobody gets it. Where he threw it, it allowed the DB to make a play on it. So I thought he was great up until that last little bit, and then he kind of fell apart. I thought the play calling wasn't very great in that last little section there. But props to Texas to not backing down, come back, try and steal that game at the very end. But Washington was the better team, and my matchup going in was the Texas D-line against the Washington O-line, because if Penix had time to throw, he was going to kill Texas all day, which is exactly what he did.
Exactly, which seems to be the blueprint. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But to your point, Texas, in my opinion, yes, they're back. They're in the CFP. We know what they're about to be going into the SEC this coming year. Washington, we know the weapons that they have, but Texas, like you said, they hung in there. But again, I too was disappointed in that last drive. I was like, this is exactly what you asked for. Less than 2 minutes to go, driving down the field. You're in the red zone. You give your team an opportunity, and I felt the same way. I felt that I really didn't have much confidence in Quinn Ewers. All the way out, all three throughout the game, and the comeback, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is the guy that we knew. But down here was something where it was kind of like, can I time out? Can I get the other quarterback on this, for us? Can I get Penix or Bo Nix or somebody else? Because Ewers just, he looked, it kind of felt like he fell apart. It kind of felt like he was not ready for that moment. And for those you don't know, he had 3 or 4 opportunities in the red zone and was not able to complete a pass, and they lost. And it came down to that. So shout out to Washington's defense. Because that's something that they're not going to be able, in my opinion, they're not going to be able to do this when you're getting a constant dose of Blake Corum and Dijon Edwards coming at you, bop, 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 every single play. And that's going to keep that offense cold. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but what are some red flags you might see now for Washington? You give up 31 points. Texas is not bad, but, you're going into the big game.